Everybody, and I'm going to try to make a video. Hopefully Facebook will let me upload it, but I wanted to make a video because I had a request, but I'm going to kind of broaden it based on just a broad term. I don't know. I've been drinking. I'm not like tipsy or anything, but I am a little foggy, so I'm sorry if anything doesn't come out quite well, and I'm going to go and take another sip because that's what life's about, right? Just wine, right? Also, if you didn't know, drinking it out of the bottle is very classy, and everyone needs to do that, so. Anyway, also don't mind I'm smoking hookah, which I do in a lot of my videos, so don't mind me also. So, I'm going to make a video about dark arts because there's a lot of confusion on dark arts, but the thing also on top of that is I know that Curtis made a video and Carmen made a video based on dark arts, but they kind of just barely touched the really, really broad spectrum of it. So I'm going to make just a video about that. And the reason I want to cover more about it is because it needs more clarification. A lot of people think that dark arts are going to be like light arts or white arts, and the fact that they're going to be personality-wise like them. First of all, every white art and dark art is going to be very independent of, it's not going to exactly cover, you could say, for example, all, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something, all dragons like treasure, which is 99% true, but you may run into like one that doesn't like treasure. It's rumored, and I've talked to only one that's agreed with this, but I'm not sure if it's true, that gray dragons don't like treasure. And it's weird because gray dragons aren't like the color gray. It's the ones that don't have scales or, well, they have wings, but they don't have scales. So they look kind of like lizards, and they don't actually have the hunger for treasure like others do. I don't know if that's all true, because like I said, it's very dependent. But anyway, it's kind of like that. So dark arts, okay, they're not evil, but they're not necessarily just purely good. Now, when it comes to dark arts, you need to know that a lot of them are pretty no nonsense. Like, they don't really put up with you as much as white arts do. Like, let's say okay, for example, I had a shapeshifter who was a werecat, and she was actually dark arts, which is pretty interesting for that species. And she was nope. If the moment you said a lie, she flipped out. Like, I'm not even talking like just like a big lie, like a little white lie. Like, oh, you could say like, oh, I really like your dress, but in your mind you're like, oh, I don't really like that dress. She would flip out, and they're not very nice about it too. They don't be like, oh, you know, you really shouldn't say that. They're kind of like, what the F are you doing? You shouldn't do that. Like, they freak out. And I mean, not all of them like that, but I'm just kind of saying generically. Now, the certain species that was requested was my lamia. My lamia came from Carmen, and I love her to pieces, and she's quite a character in her own way. She's pretty rude, but she's very nice in her own way. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I don't think it does, but that's okay. I'm sorry for any background noise. My dogs, whenever I watch TV, which I'm doing now, they play, and it's really obnoxious because I'm trying to watch my TV and they play. So it's sorry for the noise. They're over there, so, and they're being crazy and playing, so I apologize for that. Also, I have all my, oh god, I'm sorry, my camera's like front end, so I have all my spirits, and that, and that, and that, so, anyway, so yeah, so the request is my lamia. Lamias are kind of like nagas, where they have the snake body, but they are a lot worse than nagas. Nagas are actually can be gray to dark, and they're a little more accepting than lamias. Lamias don't, or lamia, I can never say that name right. They really don't care at all, and most of them don't like people, just straight up. They're a very unique species, and they're usually pictured with their stomach cut open and little like tentacles kind of coming out, or little legs, and devouring people. Their favorite treat are babies. So if you have a child in your home, do not take one of these in. As a matter of fact, if you have a child in your home, really don't take any dark arts in, because dark arts, even if you have rules, they can find little loopholes. So like, let's say you say a rule like, don't hurt anybody in my family or something like that. They could be like, oh, well, this person's not really in your family because they're not really directly your bloodline, so I can hurt them, kind of thing, you know. And you also need to make sure, like, if you let them know if you have bad thoughts about somebody. Like, let's say someone makes you mad and you're like, oh, I just really wish this would happen to them, and you really don't. Make sure they know that too, because sometimes they will attack people. I have had people that will call me on the phone, my old job, and they would just cuss me out, and I would get so mad, and then later on understand, like, okay, they were upset, I understand, but at the time, I was thinking a lot of bad things, and if I didn't have the rules in place that I do, it would cause issues. I don't have a lot of rules. I'm actually a very lenient keeper, which you have to be very careful with. And that's why a lot of spirits want to come to me, because I am more level-headed. I kind of like to sit down and be like, this is what I expect of you. And they kind of like to treat me a little bit differently, because if you give someone a rule, like a child, for example, and be like, don't touch that, what are they going to do? They're going to touch it, or going to find a way around it. So when I sit down with them, I say, okay, look, this is what I expect of you, so please make sure to do that. And also, I have one of my other this is one of my first conjures from Carmen. The feather fell off, but I can chew on it. This is one of my first conjures from Carmen. I actually hadn't bonded with them in a really long time, and I just really felt like I needed to bring them out, so I'm living on them right now. But anyway, so yeah, that's basically kind of a gist of dark arts. The way you bond with them is very, very particular. Some of them have special ways you have to bond with them, some of them don't. Demons, for example, are going to be more like humans. Lamias, Nagas, all of those kind of things are going to be a little bit different. A lot of them are going to be accepting no matter what of your ritual, but they're going to need like a lot more offerings because they're a lot more picky. White arts, you could probably never give them an offering, and they're like, cool, I still like you. Dark arts are like, okay, I'm doing all this for you, so what the hell? Like, come on, give me something back. And, I mean, everyone knows dark arts like meat, and they like all that kind of stuff. But some of them like anything just with you taking special time. I have a dragon that I've had from Kathy for a very, very long time, and he doesn't like to be housed with anybody. And I told him straight up, I was like, look, you're going to be housed with somebody at some point, and you're going to have to suck it up, because I just can't always do that. I mean, I may have to take you guys in a charging bag and take you out somewhere. You're going to be with them, and you don't have to presently like be in their company, but your vessel will. So, I let them know. I tell them what I expect, and if they have a problem, they can come to me. And I haven't had that yet, so that's really lucky on my part. But I'm very like straight up with my dark arts, because they're kind of like, think of either like an older brother or like a younger kid. I know that's very broad, but like your older brother, like, okay, especially if you're a girl, your older brother, they're going to be very protective of you, and they're not really going to give a shit what they do. So like, let's say you have somebody come over and they want to take you on a date, and you're like, oh yay, I'm going to get all pretty. Well, they're going to bitch you out because of what you're wearing or how you look or just something dumb like that. It's a big brother thing. Or like a kid where you can be like, don't do this, don't do that, and they're like, whatever, you're not the best to me, and they're going to do it anyway, and then later regret it, kind of thing. So you need to kind of take that into consideration. Especially if you have kids, I don't recommend having dark arts in your home. It doesn't matter what your energy's like. Like, for example, my personal energy, I don't mix well with, like, earthen, is that a word? Earthen elements, earth elements, I guess. So, like, elves, I don't really click with them. Sometimes I have one that comes through and it's like, hey, you, buddy, let's hang out. But I don't really, like, my drow, which is actually part of this vessel, he's the closest thing I've had to an earthen element besides my dragons. So, and they're not even really considered earth elements. Even my green one isn't really considered an earth element. And she's a very, very, very... Ooh, I have a hiccup. She's a very different case because she came to me actually asking for help for me to remove her from her realm. So that was a different case. But anyway, what else? When you have a lot of dark arts, let's say you get like a... Okay, for example... This wonderful, wonderful vessel from Kathy. I'm sure you all have seen it. It's this beautiful sword that she offered with all the dark arts in there. There's a ton in here. When it comes to like this, it's going to take 5 times, well, depending on how many spirits, it's going to take a lot longer to bond with all of them because you need to do it individually. White arts you could do in a big group and they really don't care. Like fairies, most of them come in a group anyway, so even if you buy one, they're going to come with more. I can pretty much guarantee you. And they attract more, and they don't really expect you to try to bond with all of them because they kind of just do it all themselves. So dark arts, you have to do it individually because they really, really care. Also, they're very picky on their vessels. They want them cleaned. They want to make sure that they're in a good spot. I actually had a really bad experience with the vessel today, actually, but they were very, very forgiving of me. But they won't do that to everybody. You can't just think like, oh, Shannon did this, so I should have the same experience. No, everyone's on a different level. Everyone's energy is a different type of energy too. So like, you can't just sit there and be like, because Shannon said this is what's going to happen. No. Like, some of you are coming to me, which I'm very, very honored. Trust me, I am like, I'm so excited. They're coming to me to like ask me to mentor them, and that's great. I will love and I'll try as hard as I can to try to help you. But this is an experience for everyone to experience individually. We can give you as many tips and advice as possible. I could say, go meditate with this on your vessel on your forehead, and just like wait. And I could have a really good experience, but you may not. So really, it's like, it's really different. You just kind of have to find your own little groove. Kind of like working. Think of it like someone may teach you one method, but then you discover you're really good at this method, so you're going to do that more. Just like that. Sorry if I'm talking really fast. I don't know why I'm talking so fast. What else? Some dark arts are not going to want to do anything with you. Some of them don't even like people, and they just make an exception for you because you're different. That's a really, really big deal. If that happens to you, you need to be like, you guys are the best, and like give them as many offerings as possible because you're trying to, basically, dark arts come through and you are the representation of humanity. They know humanity is pretty scummy. I'm just going to say that now. A lot of them are. But they're kind of expecting you to be the face and representative of us. So it's really your job. The thing also with dark arts is they can leave. White arts don't generally leave their vessel because they're pretty accepting. Some of them are pretty no-nonsense, but most of them aren't. And they're going to be like, okay, I love you no matter what kind of thing. While dark arts, if you do one thing wrong and they don't like it, they can leave. And you could be left with an empty vessel. And a lot of times conjurers get a bad rap for that. It's not the conjurer's fault. They could like do anything they could to do that. That's why Creepy Hollow sells those like spells, I think, where you can call back spirits you've lost because that can happen. You can also do it yourself, but it's really difficult to try to get them back. What else? They're really picky. I mean, they're very different than anything. But the way you bond with them, like for example, I was requested, I'm talking about my Lamia. The way I bonded with her was just really straight up. I took her everywhere. I talked to her every day. I still do. I notice with my vessels, I have a large amount of spirits. I usually bond with one main one first, and it's usually the one that wants to work with you the most. So what basically happens is one steps forward and is like, look, it may not be the leader. Like for example, this is a white art example, but it's an easy one. So this one's also from Kathy. It has 5 white arts dragons on it. It has a princess silver, a queen white, a princess platinum, a king white, and a prince Lucius. Oh God. And technically, the princess silver is the leader of the group, but that's not the one I work with. It's actually the king white I work with. Now, if you're given a vessel that says like it has a leader, some people like to try to bond with that one first. What I actually like to do is go backwards. So go from kind of like the omega of the group, so like the weakest link, and then go up. Because basically, when you bond with each one, you're making a repertoire of each one. So like, let's say you take the bottom one's gonna be like, hey, look, you guys, this person's great. So the next up, and it keeps going. And when you get to the top one, you have all these other ones that are like, this person's great. And then they're like, okay, I'm willing to work with you if my clan or whatever is willing to work with you. You can go backwards. I mean, that's just my suggestion. I mean, the other way with the top to the bottom. That also will work. It's just really up to you. But like sometimes, like I said, I have ones that want to deal with me more. My drow wants to deal me on this one, the king white on that one, and my lamia on the other one. I have other ones on there, but they don't really deal with me. They talk to me and stuff, but they don't want to deal with me right on like the lamia does. So there's that. The way I bond with them is just treats and incense, constant talking, ask them to visit you in dreams. If you're having problems seeing or any of that, really before you go to bed, this is what I recommend. And you can do this with prayer and too. If you want to talk to your ancestors or your like patron god or your matron goddess or whatever. This is legal, by the way. It's not like anything not legal at Shisha, just so you know. I always have to make that little disclaimer, just in case for the new people that are like, oh my god, you're doing something bad. No, I'm not. It's all legal. Anyway, so, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, bonding, right? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, so just, yes, light bulb. Okay, so what you do is, I think it's time for a swig. What you can do is start to talk to them while you fall asleep. I did this earlier. It works great. Even for like someone that's just starting out and has no idea what this world's about. Even if you just don't even spirit keep, just do this. Pray or talk while you're falling asleep. So lay in bed and close your eyes and just in your head start talking. So let's say I want to talk to my lamia. I'm going to call her S. So be like, S, this is what happened today. And just kind of recap. I mean, she was there. She knows. I mean, she doesn't need to hear all this, but you're talking to her. And then try and talk about like, oh, what you expect for Denaro. Not what you expect of her or them. Don't be like, I expect you to do this for me because you're my spirit and blah, blah. No, these are your friends. Dark arts are not, okay, you cannot take control of dark arts like they're some bitch. I'm just going to say that now. Because they will have none of that. Unless the conjurer is straight up like, okay, look, you need to treat them like this. Even so, I would talk to them about that, like the spirit. Because really, I am very against that. Like, I've had one person that's told me that they had to have, like, when I took the djinn in, they were like, you need to be, like, straight up with this djinn. They only want to have requests. They don't want to deal with any funny business. Fine. If that's the way they want, fine. But I'm going to ask them that, too. And I'm still going to talk to them like they're my friends. I don't care if they don't like it or they don't want to hear it. They don't need to hear it if they don't want to. They can tune you out. Hey, do not drink my wine. That's my wine. Back up. Look, he's so innocent. Can you see him? Where is he? That's my wine. That's my wine. That's not your wine. Anyway, yeah, so I always ask them because I don't think that's fair. I wouldn't want to be told like, oh, you need to do this with this person and then be like, no, not really. That came across wrong. You know, that just, So they don't have to listen to you. They can tune you out. You know, that's no big deal. But anyway, lay in bed, close your eyes, and just mentally talk to them. Now, what I recommend is when you focus on how you talk to them, focus on a chakra. A lot of people like to focus on their third eye, but what I found was productive is use your throat chakra. There's I just caught a gnat in midair.